allegedly released the Epstein files phase 1. For whatever reason, they decided to hand pick a couple of social media influencers to come and get binders that looked like they were purchased at Office Depot on the clearance section, to then give it to them and then put it out. And so what do you guys think? Is it everything we waited for, or is it a big fat nothing burger?
I appreciate the consciousness of our tax dollars and buying those cheap binders at Office Depot. So thank you, Trump administration, for being cost conscious in your release of the phase 1 Epstein files. First, I refuse to use their framing on this. It's phase 1. It's the most transparent administration. Let's see about that. I think this is gonna. I think this first tranche of files, based on what I heard, a couple people who got them say, is going to be a big old nothing burger. It's a bunch of names. It's not. We're not going to learn anything that significant out of these. And I think it's a nothing burger. I have some other thoughts, but I'm curious to hear what Brad and you think about this first tranche.
Well, we have what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure can.
Well, I think Michael, I don't think you're talking. I don't think your microphone is turned on, Michael. I could be wrong, but
he's correct.
So we got I knew it. Oh God. This is what we got here. Here it is. From Eric Doherty. Breaking DC Drano, libs of TikTok. These people have names. Cernovich, Liz Wheeler, seen holding Epstein files phase 1 at the White House. Big Google eyes. Photo from Josh Suckoff. Good one, guy. So I think this is, it's kind of weird. I mean, you know, some conservative influencers. I'm not a big fan of DC Drano. He seems like not that, like, I feel like if Trump said we're going to nuke Iran, he'd probably go along with it. He'd just be totally rah is what we got to do. America first. That's how we win, by implementing Mitch McConnell's dream before he retires. We got to do it. Bomb Iran. And I appreciate Cernovich. Lives at TikTok, and this other chick, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like if there was more to this, we'd see a lot more like rumblings. Like, these are the people on the list. This is what's happening. Why aren't we seeing more of it? Is it because it was a Mossad operation and Israel's our greatest ally and we're not going to like knock them out of the park? Is that what's going on?
Well,
you guys see talking.
I was just waiting to see if Charles had something to say. I love the social media influencer aspect of it. What are you going to give it to the New York Times? Fuck that. Like, give it to some people on social media.
Always thinking the New York Times in every reference of conversation that we have on this show, as if there are not other media outlets out there that we could pick on.
But none of them would be worthy of receiving this story. None of them. BCM podcast, maybe.
Hell yeah.
Again, then we're in the social media influencer category. So I'm not talking about those specific individuals. Could he have picked better people? Probably. But the idea of giving it to independent people who have a following on social media so that they can put it out there, I like that aspect.
I'm not against the idea. I think Cernovich actually was instrumental in the beginning of like the Epstein saga and like getting the case like to a judge in Florida or whatever. Reopened or whatever it was. So I get why he would be there. I just don't understand the other three. And, there's Michelle, what's her name? Michelle Ryan with OWN. Maybe she's a news lady. She could do it, right?
Liz Crokin.
Huh?
Liz Crokin.
I just don't understand why it has to be DC Drano.
Well, and I also saw another picture in which Scott Pressler was there too. So he was there. Here's the thing. I don't agree with releasing it specifically to this crowd. This guy on Twitter, Nuance Bro, kind of wrote what I was thinking, but didn't have the words for. He goes, I don't like this method of release. Basically signals, this is only of importance to internet influencers and online weirdos. So we're just going to give it to them instead of doing a proper release. If they felt it was a proper release, they would have rolled this out right before the White House press briefing and gave it to every media outlet there and answered questions on it. They would have had a freaking, I had an ad today from Kristi Noem and the Department of Homeland Security on TV. I mean, on TV, like a TV commercial. If they really wanted to do this, they would have done it in like a primetime interview. There are ways to do this, and you can still give it to the influencers. My second problem is that by giving it to the influencers first, you're you're indirectly giving them a paycheck. So they go and tweet this stuff out. Of course, their tweets are going to get boosted because Elon follows them all, and we're going to see it on social media, and then they get paid heavily on it while we get information dribbled through some online social media people.
So that's the same concept if you give it to traditional media, and they don't deserve it. They had the opportunity to. They had the opportunity to chase.
Media. I think you should give it to everybody.
Sorry. I do. No, they had the opportunity to chase this story down for years, and they ignored it. We have Amy Robach on tape saying, "I had the story and I got it shut down." Every media outlet had the resources and opportunity to chase this story down. They didn't. That's an interesting fact that nobody has explained to me quite. That makes sense yet. So I'm going to push back on this, and they would get more eyeballs if they covered it, meaning more money into their advertising budgets. Same concept you're explaining here with the social media influencers. I say give it to the people, let them report on it. Screw the media. You don't need to have some prime time edited show on CBS that they were like, well, we can touch this, but when it mentions anything about this, we're not going to be able to air that. No, screw that.
Well, my thing is give it to everybody initially, not just them. Because here's the thing. Is your goal as the White House to inform the public, or is it to get back at the media? Because if it's to inform the public, you're going to give it to the widest breadth possible of people. That means traditional media and this new media. Because guess what? The average person, my neighbor's not going online to look at DC Drano to see what they have to say about it. They're going to look at that and be like, oh yeah, this is an online weirdo thing. If they saw it on CNN, they're going to believe it. So why not give it to everyone at the same time? If
that's
the goal
the exact reason. The exact reason you just laid out, because if they give it to CNN, people will believe whatever CNN reports, and we know they won't report the truth. So why let them set the framing on this, the story on this? They'll say, Trump tripped over himself on stage when he got shot in the ear. Like, we know they don't have any credibility, and they don't deserve this story. I'm sorry.
I think you're missing my point, which isn't. Here's the thing. My thing is I don't need them to email it to CNN. What I need is them to put up a website and put the information there and let everybody get it at the same time. That's my point. Not give it to this select group. Give it to everyone at the same time. Let it be reported on by traditional media. Let it be reported on by new media. Because at the end of the day, your goal is to get the most information out to the public, you're not giving it to a very small subset of online content creators that the average non-political person who is aware of the Epstein story, because it's one of the few stories that broke out of just a political sphere. If you want to inform them, they're not going to be looking at these online influencers.
Well, we're just going to agree to disagree here, because we could get into the weeds about this, but agree to disagree.
Let's get into the weeds.
Well, hold on, guys. Stop.
Let's let Brad get in.
First off, you too, Charles. You were like yelling at me this morning for like fixing my attitude, and look at you go. I mean, both of you. Honestly, it's not just you, Charles. Calm down.
This is the first time me and Michael have disagreed.
My girlfriend is online and she's in distress, and so I must white knight for her. I nor the task force were given or reviewed the Epstein documents before release today. Any Post story, a New York Post story, just revealed that the documents will simply be Epstein's phone book. Not great. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Get us the information we asked for. Baby girl, you're right.
Holler back.
Holla back now. Yeah, so she's saying, hey, look, this ain't it, Chief. Is that what the kids say, Chief? This ain't it. And I think I agree with Charles on this, that it should just be, look, here's the website. It's here. Download it. Anybody can download it. DC Loser Drano, you can also access it. And you have a major platform, and you'll be able to disseminate it better than most people anyway because of your major platform. But we're not picking favorites here because DC Drano, Charles makes a decent point. I know a lot of people, I'll say, that if DC Drano says something, they don't follow him, they don't give a shit what he has to say, whatever. I also understand Michael's point. New York Times, Charles's favorite newspaper, they're not going to be honest about it, right? CNN's not going to be honest about it. So Charles, I think, has the right solution. Just post it online.
Not the right solution.
At the end of the day, if they had just given this to DC Drano, I would have never known about it. I don't follow him. I don't know what he talks about. None of those people that are pictured there do I follow or know what they're talking about. I can find the information because I'm on social media and stuff and like look for this, but I would have better been able to sort through it if it was just initially put out bullet points. Here's the high level stuff. Here's what it is. Let's talk about it. But at the end of the day, it seems like there's not much there. And Anna Paulina Luna is saying that that's like Congress didn't even get it. Why not give it to the head of the committee that's looking at this before you give it to the social media influencers?
It's right there, guys. It's right there. It's up there.
Click
it's up
on
there
follow.
online.
Click
It's
on
up
one.
there online for anybody to see. What you guys
Click
are missing in the PR play here is the first story sets the tone for the rest of the stories. Other newspapers just pick up the headline that was first covered. So whatever the first people are reporting is going to set the tone for all of the coverage on this. And if you send it out there into the world, that means CNN and New York Times, who are trying to cover this up, they're trying to cover up this global sex trafficking network. They're trying to cover it up. They have been for years, gets to participate in setting what is the story here. And by giving it to a select few people, they determine what the story is. And maybe it's not ideal, but it's better than what you guys are proposing here. I'm telling you.
But the
I'm right
outlets
on
aren't
this one.
following with these. They're not going to follow the narrative these people set.
Yeah, they are going to have to.
I don't know
I
about
guess
that.
we'll wait and see. I don't know.
But-
I mean, we'll see tonight what they report. You know, I don't. What the report's going to be tonight, I think, is going to be Trump administration selects small faction of right-wing social media influencers to come and get the information about, right-wing hoax, blah, 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 blah. That's what it's going to be now.
And then their first thing they're going to tweet is something like Bill Clinton's on here 57 times or whatever. But we're still going round and round about it. One thing I do want to say before we move off this topic is there's something incredibly strange about this story. Incredibly strange. Pam Bondi, who advocated as AG of Florida, advocated for the death penalty for children or children abusers.
Whoa, damn.
Abusers of children. Very fired up about the Epstein files about 2 weeks ago when they were on her desk, ready to be reviewed. Now is hedging like a politician. There is something incredibly strange about this story that involves the trafficking of children that I don't know that we're ever going to know the truth. Because if you can twist Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who are like, yeah, we're releasing everything like they have done, there's something going on that we need to know.
Could it be
Yes.
that it's what?
Yes.
You're saying yes. I don't even need to say it. You know exactly what I'm going to say. I'm correct.
I don't know that that's correct, but I always go back to Alex Acosta, when asked about this, said, I was told not to touch it. He is intelligence. That was in 2008 when he gave him the sweetheart deal. And he said, I was told he's part of intelligence and not to touch it. So,
well, if he was part of intelligence, why would Pam Bondi and Kash Patel be protecting that? Because they're
it's
compromised?
because it's not just our intelligence.
There's a certain intelligence agency that might be implicated, and we can't do that. Do you understand? I think James Lindsay puts it best. I sent you guys this earlier. I can pull it up real quick. Oh, come on, computer, stop doing this. I hate it.
I don't know that we need to just signal out Mossad. I'm fine saying Mossad. I think it was global. It's global, and
Yes.
it implicates lots and lots of people in not just child sex trafficking, but trading votes for money, all sorts of corruption that's going on in the U.S. and other governments, and that includes MAGA people who would get exposed.
Right. Look, I was not saying that it's just Mossad, but it's also MI6, it's also CIA, it's probably the whole 5 eyes, 7 eyes, whatever the phrase is. It's the whole shebang. But I think the prevailing narrative is that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were sort of, they had some deep ties over there. And that might ruin some narratives.
It does. Certainly does.
MI6 is involved or MI5? You think it's MI6?
What's the difference?
Well, MI5 is for foreign intelligence, and then MI6 is for like legal, economic, secret intelligence service liaisons.
I don't know. I thought you were talking about Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. I have no idea. No idea.
Well,
Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. Hey, can I